Hello everyone. Today I'm going to talk about Module 76. So first we have this idea of, do we do better or worse when other people are watching? Social facilitation says that when we have learned a task well and are already good at it, when other people are watching, we do that well-learned task even better. This explains the home advantage. When the crowd is cheering, the team does even better because they're well practiced and they're already good at what they're doing. The social impairment says that when other people are watching us do a task that we are still learning or find difficult, we do it even worse. The pressure kind of doesn't help when we aren't great at what we are doing. Um, yeah, social loafing is the typical group project where people slack off because they're in a group. And there's a few different reasons. One is they feel less responsible for the outcome. The expected kind of, they don't want to tax themselves unnecessarily um, because they're getting like the same benefits from other people's work. Another explanation is they might feel like their efforts are just not that important. They're kind of dispensable and kind of small. Um, yeah, so examples, group assignments for sure. When participants in an experiment would like be doing tug of war, if they were, you know, all of them are blindfolded and some of them are told, oh, you're the only one pulling, whereas others are told that they're on a team. The people who were told they're on a team did not pull as hard. Um, yeah, for those same reasons. They might kind of feel like, oh, my efforts aren't as important, or they don't have as much of an impact, or they just kind of are like more lazy and don't want to like try because they're getting the same benefit from other people. And same thing when like people are told to like shout and clap as loud as they can. If they think they're in the group, they won't do it as loudly. De-individuation is when there's a loss of self-restraint because of high arousal and a feeling that you're anonymous. So this can be problematic. For example, if people are like rioting, they might feel like aroused because it's very like tons of people, and they might feel anonymous also because there's so many people, you just get lost in the crowd. Or if they're wearing like masks or something, then they might feel anonymous as well, which can cause them to do like bad things. Um, yeah, and they might not even be like that terrible of people. It's just when they're put in this situation, they kind of can have this de-individuation, this loss of self-restraint. For example, our teacher asked all of us students to write down what we would do if we knew that we wouldn't be caught and we wouldn't be held accountable and that nobody would know, like we did it. And we all wrote it down, turned in our slips, and like more than half the class said they would rob a bank. It's not like we're horrible people, it's that this feeling of being anonymous is like really dangerous. Yeah, group polarization is when like minded people get together and talk about something and then they become even more um, passionate about that belief or even more extreme on that belief. So, poles, kind of thinking extreme. So, for example, when non prejudiced students get together and talk about like being non prejudiced, they become even more accepting. And when prejudiced students get together and talk, they become even more prejudiced. So it can be good or bad. But yeah, the internet allowing for like you to find people who share your views and talk with them, it can really like make things get extreme. So a lot of like Americans feel like the nation is like divided like with politics and stuff because of this kind of like polarization, getting into groups and stuff. Um, and I think on like a smaller scale, this definitely happens with gossip. So if it's like you you're talking about somebody else with your friend, you're like, oh yeah, this person's like a little bit annoying, and then they're like, oh yeah, they're annoying, I agree, and then you keep talking, and all of a sudden it's like, wow, this is the worst person ever, and like, they're so like horrible and mean, or like, same thing, like you're talking with somebody and like, oh yeah, this teacher, like they give a bit too much work, it's a hard class, and then if they also agree, or like you have like a whole group of students talking about it, like the more you talk about it, the more you're like, oh, this teacher, like they don't even care about our free time, they just like want to make us suffer, and it's like really like exaggerated. So that's group polarization. Groupthink is when people are trying to make a decision or solve a problem together, and no one wants to disagree with somebody else. Nobody wants to say they don't agree with the plan, especially if everybody else agrees. Um, they don't want to disrupt the harmony of the group. If everyone seems to agree, and like one person or maybe even everyone feels like a little bit unsure about the plan, they just don't want to say anything because they're in a group and they just don't want to disrupt the harmony, or they don't want other people to think like poorly of them. Um, so this can lead to bad decisions, and in like government and stuff, it's also kind of harmful because um, with like huge, large scale decisions, and like if nobody wants to like point out a problem because of groupthink, then it can result in like really faulty plans. Um, Ways to kind of avoid this is being open to like alternative viewpoints and accepting toward other opinions, inviting expert critiques, and assigning people to identify possible problems, so that you're not like missing the problems, because no one wants to like say anything. And lastly, since we're talking about groups here, culture. Culture is defined as enduring behaviors, ideas, attitudes, values, and traditions within a group.